And so this is part 2 of the Candid Can Podcast with Gino and Profound, as we discuss the things that come in the moment and what doesn't exist in the moment. So we're talking about what is. And we left off with you reflecting on, what was that, Gino, we were talking about?
Yeah, man, we didn't talk about it all. So I'm so I'm so in, like the again, back to the information, man. Like what you were saying with the sun is just that's
what it is. I wanted to throw this at you all. Is that all right? So, a lot of people cannot sit in the sun like we can because of how we consume and distribute the data and the rays that come in. One of the things that I found out in this past week is that the shade of the moon, the temperature in the shade of the moon is lower. It's cooler in the shade of the moon. I mean, it's warmer in the shade of the moon than it is in moonlight. The moonlight, if you stand in moonlight, it's actually cooler than if you stand in moon shade, which is interesting when you associate what light is. But let me walk you one step more. The moon is reflecting the sun's light. So for those that find it harmful or difficult to look at the sun and sun gaze, another way to get data and frequency is to moon gaze. That is why plants and creatures and hair and things go nuts when the moon is full. That is why there are more pregnancies, more beatings, more violence, more shootings, and just overall activity on a full moon. Is because this is when people are out and about and you're getting a very specific transmission of the sun's data at this time. So yeah, I found it intriguing when he told me about, or I came to learn about the difference in heat from the moon's light to the moon's shade. And I looked at that and connected to the fact that the moon is one of the most effective ways for you to see and stare at sunlight. So that's something. Don't forget to moon gaze when you can. That's the best time to charge your crystals and do many things. So yeah, it's just the more you know, the more you grow, man.
Yeah, you see more.
Yeah.
The more words you download, the better your sight becomes. Because your eyesight is just an opening to receive some data.
Mm-hmm. Photons, just data.
Yeah. And so when you add words, now those photons, you start giving it information as well. And it start downloading to your system and you're like, oh, these photons, man, dude, they got a satellite, I believe, that's photon, like a photon satellite. Mm-hmm. And they can make the particles of a photon move at the same time while it's on the moon.
Well,
that's the new communication. If they're going to be using, downloading, like they realize, like, whoa, these photons got pairs.
It goes a step further on what we already have built in. There was this experiment done with sperm, where this guy sat in a room, looked at a magazine, and ejaculated into a cup. And so they separated him by a wall, stimulated him with the magazine, and saw his sperm activate through just a wall. They separated him by several rooms, and the same thing happened. They separated him by several miles, and the same thing happened. Then they separated him by an entire ocean, and the same thing happened. So we have to understand that these sperm is the creation of life.
Right.
It is mistaken and misunderstood, and it's a joke when you say I'll do this and that and you swallow it. Like the connection that men and women have when these two things interact spatially, it does never end. It is a universe of lives and possibilities every single time, and that is why there's a lost value in what it is called to. I guess it's to hold your sperm. There's some term that I hear coming up, sperm retainment. And you're literally holding on to life and generation and possibility after possibilities on a level and scale that is unfathomable. There's a reason that athletes are encouraged not to have sex before a game. This is not like, there's so many things that you don't look into the detail of that have so much value, but the sperm retainment is like crazy empowering. And the more you do it, the more control you have over you. Outside forces can't stimulate you like they're meant to. You can see all these things pop up, but if you're not connected to a higher frequency with that thing, that image can no longer trigger you. You just cut off a whole nother level of super programming of what most things are overly sexualized for control. Things didn't get sexual just because. No, sex is a part of the cabal and the programming of what's needed to get things to work. If I can control your fear, if I can control your sexual drive, I have access to both your body and possibilities and the future of your DNA programming. I have both. What else is there? What else is there? I don't care about money. I have your current behavior and your future.
Yes.
But yeah.
So that right there is one of the, I've been reading the Zohar. Man, the Zohar, oh my God, is when you get connected to the understanding that the alphabet, like we was never taught this, the alphabet has energy and God summons these alphabets to formulate words which are spellings, which put spells on you.
Yeah, I'm a master spellist. I am a spellcaster. And it's one guy, I'll tell you this story, and it's baffling. I was on stage in Costa Rica having a show. And I meet this guy the next day. I saw him there, and he's introduced to me by this guy, Jordan. And he comes up and he says, Christiano, I see what you do. And I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? He was like, you had the people in a spell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the way he said it. Like the way it came across to people observing it looked contentious. For me, I was like in my head, and I kept it to myself until now. And I'll probably show this to him. I'm like, he saw it because I chose to master words. I chose this. I went into Latin and then I went into English because it changes. But it changes the most, and it allowed the most manipulation and deception. But words are spells, and magic has always been around. It just wasn't, like I said earlier, it's just now coming back where we're coming into a realm where all these spells of magic will have power again. People are getting confused. Abracadabra was one of the most strongest words used in spells, and then it got so popular and it didn't have the impact. Like there are these stories that talk about myths. They're like, I'm only here for as long as you remember me. If there's so many stories that say we only exist as long as you remember us. When you think of why indigenous tribes don't forget the dead, because we're only around as long as you remember us. Yes, magic has never been forgotten. It has been worked on, improved, and now they can see the effects of it getting stronger and stronger because it's here now. We're in a new realm of possibility. So you're right. There is like words are spells. Every single word. Dis-ease. If you break them all down, just so many things that you say, not understanding why you say it, to understand, to overstand versus to understand everything. Like energy is your inner chi. And so your enemy is your inner me. Like you have to unlock your inner chi by battling your inner me. And it's just all right in front of you. It's all right there.
Yep.
So yeah.
As they say, the words became flesh. You understand? And so we don't understand sometimes we don't, as a community, we don't understand the power in that. The words became flesh. The words became something. The words became what you thought that came uttered out of your mouth became a substance.
That is the power of frequency and vibration.
Yes.
It even goes before the speaking of it. A thought is a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Because the intention comes from somewhere that can't even be explained. Like we could sit right now here, and the question is, where does a thought come from? What's the origin of a thought? It doesn't come from your brain.
That's right.
Where does a thought resonate? And even so, I just to leave it there, and you work your way down to a thought being spoken. That means that the thought thingy created the vibration of the words. Now, you take the purposefulness of that vibration, and then you see that this word love just made someone smile. This resonance just made a reaction. And you log this. Love. And if you hold that intention of what it did, every time you say it, that vibration carries that additional intention whenever it goes out. And when do frequencies and vibrations start moving? They never stop. You may stop saying them. They never stop. So that same vibration of love, hate, it never stops.
Never.
It never stops. So you have to be conscious of energy is not, and it never is destroyed. It just changes form. So that hate will hit someone. Can they turn that into love?
Right.
It's so much when you get to magic and frequencies, man. Spells and frequencies. That's why people do chants. You don't do mantras in group. You don't say in groups for no reason. There's a reason that 60 people that cannot sing sound amazing in the choir, because that resonance of good intention and collective unity are shooting at the same target with the shared passion. And when it comes out, man, this children choir sounds amazing, but that little mother can't sing.
Together, great. But that dude on the side by himself, I'll stop that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of where we are now with what is taking place. We are entering a moment where we need to take a quantum leap genetically to even continue in the world that is presenting itself. Right now, the amount of phenomenon that are coming and all the things that will surrender, all the plants and veggies, all the monkeys and lions, they are not going to resist the shift or the influx of energy coming because they're not distracted from it. They're a part of nature. Humans are the only things that have to, man, I want to be more in nature and I want to live a more natural life. It's like, that is the weirdest shit I hear all the time. And I understand it. I understand cities, constructs, agreements, things that were brought into your awareness. The DNA, your parents lived in this city and your grandparents actually lived in this city. Your great-great-grandparents didn't. But your DNA and these programmings, these demons is what they're called in computer language. They're actually called demons. These programmings are running, and you have to first find that the program is running before you can even consider making an adjustment in the code. And that is what is called to unlock yourself. But right now we need a collective leap, because it's kind of like the pod example of dolphins. Dolphins are really individual creatures. Like, they're very unique and they have individual characteristics. But if you attack one, you attack them all, whether you see them or not. That's the pod. So in a way right now, it's difficult. And this is what I was trying to say. Like, why I have to shine my light right now is because what is a light supposed to do? It's supposed to shine. And what does a light go do? You go to shadows. So the more shadows I have dug into, the brighter my light got. And that's why after I came out of 108 hours of darkness, no food, no water, no light, it was like, oh my, I have no more shadows. All I can do is just shine. So that is what these shares are. And this is why I'm looking at, for us to make this leap, I need to shine this awareness so that you can see it's possible. I can't make you do it, but I can light this path. You can see it, like you say, you see it in this smile, this smirk, this thing. Yeah, it's because it's right there. And that's why when you said once you do this thing, we'll have a different conversation, because this look, like, when someone's lit, Look at them. You know it. So we need to make a collective quantum leap genetically to enter this realm that is going to make it no matter what. Right. And it takes earlier what I was mentioning is cleaning your diet. You got to get light to get light. The less dense you are, the more you can take in, the more you can process, the more your mind and soul work, and the less your body works. Your body is your anchor to this realm. And that is why when you take plant medicine, it works on your mostly on your mind, and it allows you to see your soul. And your soul is trapped in your cells. So you got to unlock your cells to unleash your soul. Like that, it's a reason they're called cells. It's like you got to break all that down.
It's all intentional.
All of it.
Yep.
All of it. Your heart is locked in your rib cage.
Right.
like if we go back to the Care Bears are the Care Bear stare where they opened up. But your heart is locked in your rib cage. It could have been called something else, man. They didn't have to call it a cage.
Right. It's locked in.
They could have called it bars.
You're right.
Bars.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I can do this. I can do this all day. This is my thing right here, bro. When sometimes, man, like at this point, it don't even take nothing to, like, after you get there, you don't even have to do it. If you fall off and you feel yourself falling off because whatever reason, whatever infinite reason, you can come tap back in. And,
well, because you know it exists. That's the thing. And it's almost like that's what someone who gets high, that first high is what you're always chasing.
Yeah.
If you never get it back, if you don't know that you'll never be that individual that took that in that first moment, you'll always be chasing it. But if you understand that what this is limitless, forever changing, and always accessible, abundant, never in shortage, you realize that the only thing that's needed is you. And so it's different than chasing a substance to get there versus chasing you. It's just you. You're the only thing in your way. Get out your way.
Yeah. Yep. Man, you're going to have all these questions, Pro, man, and they're going to all get answered at the same time.
And what happens is we start from a different level of consideration. And that is when you have these conversations with people and you're like, you would think they knew each other for a long time, or you would think that they have a private language. Nope. There's this whole different thing that's clearly understood where we start our conversations from here. It's like going into camp. If you're going into an advanced camp of any sport, skill, or trade, by default, the people there went through prerequisites. So the conversation starts from an entirely different basis than if you just walk into a kindergarten and like, so that's really what it is. Pro, you'll be in a different level of this shift. There's levels to this shift.
Yeah. And then what's funny, when you get to the upper, this is where I'm talking, that tap it in, that's level-less. It's unfathomable. It has no anything that you can put a concept to. It's just is. That thing that you're trying to understand with God, it just is, and you just feel it.
It's beyond.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You start connecting so many dots. You see so many parallels in everything that you look at. Everything. We was watching a movie, and I was sitting there breaking down aspects in the movie. I said, all right, this character's dark. He's going to come out the darkness and blind. This one's white. It has darkness inside of it. And it came down to this, man, that I understood Jesus for the first time ever. I've been fighting that dude for a long time because
Christ consciousness.
I allowed an image to dictate how I felt about him. And I did the wrong thing. I didn't praise the artist for drawing what he thought his conscience, or what his thought was of what he felt what Jesus was. And I was like, yeah. I got on the phone. I said, dude, Jesus is real. Somebody was like, one of my homies was like, nah, man, I can't accept that white dude. I said, why couldn't you? What's the problem? I said, you're looking at it from your perspective. And see, when you're looking at it from a different person's perspective, that's the perspective they have. And with that comes with certain energies as well. So you're going to feel a certain way. But when I see him in a totally different light, a totally different, I'm not arguing over dates. I'm not arguing over a structure of a man. It's a consciousness. And this information, did you extract the information he was telling you? Because 5 to 7 times he told you were God.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Over and over again if you read that.
Yeah. And he died for saying that at the end of the day. And so you got to think about this.
If you take that literally, because Jesus is a name, Christ is a label. There have been many Christ. Jesus of Nazareth is different from Jesus Christ. There is okay, if we take the Bible and look at this, there was a little boy came into the world under the same star apparently that we're about to see coming up in about 2 weeks. And he was doing something and then he disappeared. He went on a journey for some years and came out the blue at the age of 33, an amazing number to consider what that means, with a focus, a vision, and his purposeful path of be greater than thy, love thy, like he came with parables and stories, but also physical acts that follow the line of what a heightened state of awareness is associated with. That's right. Once you learn how to control your Merkaba and manage through this reality, this is the ultimate level here where you can walk on water, where you can touch, and just by the touch of your touching your body, you're connected beyond that. It's people like you, because you can do it with plant medicine and frog saliva and DMT. What makes you think that touching what you perceive to be a human elevated won't cause the same thing? This is, but if we take it to cosmology, Jesus is the sun. And the light, the truth, and the way.
And the way,
What is the sun? The light, the truth, and the way. And it's just, it's just so many parallels that break down that it just becomes interesting and an unending cycle of, was someone that far ahead to really put that all together and say, hey, these people are going to use this for control, but if you can see through it, you can be empowered by this awareness of what's there. It's Christ consciousness is something that you all have access to. And it also aligns with the alignments, that when everything falls into back to the zero parallel and you see where the planets sit, they fall into a cross all over again. Like the age of Aquarius is upon us. And we are about to be gifted if we are ready to receive. This number, 144,000, makes so much more sense now because it has nothing to do with a group of people or chosen people. There may be 144,000 people that are spiritually, mentally, and physically ready to transcend with this influx and portal that's coming. That may just be it. And that would make sense. With 7 billion people, a lot of them set to die under the lies of COVID for the sake of control, but really because everyone isn't meant to be upgraded to the next step. Everyone doesn't make it through an earthquake. So do you think everyone's going to make it through an earth cosmic DNA shake? That's not even a realistic goal. No. It's hopeful for yourself. No, it's not supposed to. And so, this is another shake coming. This is a whole different shake. But Christ consciousness, or just consciousness, this thing is like, it's everywhere. It's popping up everywhere you look. People have new considerations. It's just that when you get this new capacity, what do you put it on? Because it's there. You just got upgraded with new thingies, but what are you putting on? Does it become nervous energy? Does it become anger? Does it become curiosity? Does it become a craft? Does it become meditation? Does it but it's there. Like, what is this? And so what's trying to use it is the news, the media, your finances, your programming to work to live. Like, you're the only creature on the planet that does that. So this is a time for the entire system to reset and you to realize that none of this was needed for you to live. None of it. The oil doesn't stop pumping. The lights don't go off. The internet won't even stop. People won't stop doing things. They'll pause in consideration of, I have options.
Yes, a ton of them, and you stuck on one.
Yeah, routines will become rough patches for a lot of people because they're broken now.
Yeah.
There are truck drivers that will become cooks because that's what they want to do, where their passion is. There are cooks that will become mechanics. There are mechanics that will become a masseuse that will become a weaver or a designer. But things will shift into a place of passion.
Right.
Like, we won't be controlled. You have to understand the cabal runs what is money. They run, as I said earlier, your fear and your future. That is insane. And it all comes down to money. Because if you think that you can't live or eat without money, you lost the game.
Yep.
You lost that game. Even if you have a lot of money, you'll never win this game. You just have your fears not as in control, but your fears are making you do that. It's like, this is... It's amazing.
It was funny to hear Warren Buffett say, after he done gathered all this money, it no longer had no utility because he had so much of it. It became useless. And so he's not even chasing money. He's chasing the idea of moving numbers and shifting them around on paper to create things in different realities. So he's not even connected to the money no more. He said he gave up most of that stuff away to his kids to work through the Bill Gates, whatever they want to do over there with their little magic that they do. But I always say, I said, dude, you can't collect more than Bill Gates. And this guy telling you, not Bill Gates, but Warren Buffett, he's telling you he done collect it all. And became useless.
It was useless to start. We empower money.
Out the gate.
Like, we are, like, if you don't give it value, it is nothing.
That's
Before
real.
It was paper, it was cow shit. It was seashells. It was the oldest currency to ever live and never go through inflation, never to be corrupted. Is actually called the tally stick. And it was because of what nature does. The king took a piece of wood, he cut different divots in it, and he gave one half, he put into the public arena, and the other half they kept. And so if someone came and says, hey, man, I think this is counterfeit. I don't think this lines up. I think he made this. The king is saying, bring it to me. Or the treasury, they'll go pull out this certain number, they'll line it up, and trees have rings. And you can't fake that shit. So they'll put it up as like, yeah, it's counterfeit. It's not in our hands, but go deal with your shit. Like, but you couldn't fool the system. And it's actually, this system was the last system that the founders of the Bank of England had to beg the king, the African that ran this, they had to beg him to buy into their banking system. Although none of them paid their parts to create the system, they said, we can't have this system working. We need all working functional financial systems to transition. No different than now. We need everything to collapse and fall into this digital currency on this platform of Ripple. We need everything to just stop and transition in the gloom of doom of a 99% success living rate. We need the gloom and doom to end the world. So it's the same thing right now. There's a transition of your fear, trying to get the power that you put into money that you don't even make. How can you put so much value in something you can't even make?
Right.
Yeah, I make money. No. It's actually someone else's idea.
Yep. 100%. Somebody else's energy.
Money is an idea. Currency is what is used to give that idea a physical thing to make it real. That's all we're playing right now with someone else's Monopoly game.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it. But yeah, this has been amazing to see Profound frozen as we engage in our first exchange. I know.
Yeah, he's been waiting on this, man. Man, I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, and I told him I get it. I totally get it. But right now, because I'm gonna close this up and we got more to talk about. What I'm looking into is a lot of things related to DNA, chromosomes, and light. I'm looking at these seeds of consideration before I stop having these conversations, because there's more coming and I want to be fully consumed and focused on what is. Like, I'm about to go back into darkness and silence. I just want to focus on all that is within me as the world is changing right now in ways that you cannot see, smell, or eat, but they are affecting senses that you will soon know that you have. So yeah, DNA, chromosomes, light, and information. What are you looking into right now?
Man, I'm like, look, it's you start seeing these shapes now, right? I could take a screenshot right now and there's faces inside of the greenery behind you. And it's been making different faces and I can draw it out. Like, it's crazy that I can see that profile right above his head. There's a face and that's a hat. The shade, the lamp shade, it looks like above his head, bro. You looking at this?
Mm-hmm.
There's a face under that lampshade. If you look at the green, right, you see the two eyes.
No, the two eyes are here.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
see that right over there?
And that's the nose, yeah.
That's what I can't unsee these shapes no more. Like, when I tuned in, I was like, wow, I see it all the parallels inside of everything. Yeah. It's that I'm just absorbing all of that information now because I see things so much different and clear. So, wow. Yeah, I'm taking it in, man.
I dig it. Well, this is the Candid Can Podcast, and I really appreciate this exchange. There are some conversations that engage you, and there are others that continue to be engaging when they end in that moment. And this is, I think, a seed that when people listen, they'll listen back, they'll take notes, and they'll keep living and say, hey, man, they talked about that and I'm starting to see it, or I'm starting to feel that, or I can relate. Mm-hmm. There are these seeds that you plant that gain value later. Like when a tree fruits, it's like, man, that tree didn't mean as much until it started fruiting. And it's like, no, it always had the same value. You shifted. The tree was always doing exactly what it needed to do. You came to appreciate it differently. So keep doing, keep growing, keep sharing, keep loving, keep living. And we'll keep this going as long as it needs to. Peace.
Hey, man. Peace, man. It's been great, man.